Hey everybody, Matt here with the Most Adequate Collection, and today I wanted to go over probably the most neglected part of my collection, which is my Ryne Sandberg collection. And I say that because he was my favorite player growing up. I started watching baseball regularly in the late 80s, specifically 1989. I was 1989, fourth or fifth grade, maybe. I could be wrong on that. But either way, home from summer vacation and was really getting into baseball, playing Little League myself. And so whenever I could flip the channels, and this was back before we had the handy little guide to tune into, if I was at home during the day and watching TV during the day, and there was a baseball game on during the day, there was a good chance it was the Chicago Cubs on WGN. And so that quickly became my favorite team because not only were they accessible, they were also very good that year. We got to the national, well, I guess at the time it was just the pennant, because I think there were just the two divisions then, and it was just the one team from each division that would play in the 7-game playoff, and then the winner would go to the World Series. This was back before the wild card, before the 3 division leagues and all that stuff. So it was they got to the playoffs. They went up against, it was the San Francisco Giants, ultimately lost there. And the Giants then would ultimately then lose to the A's. And the A's won World Series, which honestly probably should have been more for the team that they had. But I started latching onto that team then. We moved around a lot when I was younger. My dad worked for an industrial contracting company, and so they worked a lot with power plants and with that kind of thing. It's one of those things of where once your job is done here, there's not really any more to do. So you just move on to the next one. But at that time, 1989, we were living in Granbury, Texas, which is Texas Rangers country. And we would be there for a couple years, I think until early 91. So from late 88 or early, no, I think it was the summer of 89 we moved. So 89 to 91, just a couple years. But the Cubs became my favorite team. So I never really had that regional team to follow when I was younger. So it was just kind of, who was accessible, who was good. And at the time it was the Chicago Cubs. And it became a lifelong love affair with the team. And at the time, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But of course, my persistence and my patience would ultimately pay off in 2016. But that's beside the point. But at the time, I don't remember why. And maybe it was just simply because as a 9-year-old, you don't really understand the fundamentals and the finer points of the game to know this guy can do this, here's where he's better. You just kind of go with who's good. And at the time, it was Ryne Sandberg, and for a lot of time around that. But I latched onto him. He was my guy. It was also when I was getting into baseball cards too, starting in 1989, and he was very accessible. So his cards were all over the place. Of course, he's got being the good player on the team. Of course, along with others, you had Andre Dawson, Greg Maddux, Mark Grace was coming into the league at that time. But each set would have multiple cards of them. So you'd get the regular base card, you'd get the All-Star card for Topps. Donruss, you'd get the MVP subset, and Diamond Kings if he was the one at that time. Fleer would always do the multiple player cards, so you'd get him with Andre Dawson, and George Bell, and all that stuff. So it was accessible. And of course, by the time the insert sets came around in the early 90s, of course, he was included in all those. But he was my guy. And I picked a good one. He ultimately would go on to the Hall of Fame. Many All-Star appearances. He won the MVP in 1984. And was just all around well respected with the league, with the players, with fans, with writers, broadcasters, and everyone. But as everyone, we have our big collecting ebbs and flows. Heavy times of collecting, then we kind of take a lull and take a break for a bit, and then we pick it back up and take a break, and pick it back up and take a break. But my first big collecting boom as an adult would have been from about 2010 to maybe 14, 15. Had a pretty good 4 or 5 year run there. Before ultimately taking a break for about a decade and then kind of picking things back up just a year or two ago. But during that time, I was really getting into hockey cards. And as you've known from my content that I've done so far, a lot of hockey content and a lot of hockey content from what I've collected back then. But I did kind of keep up with baseball, would buy stuff here and there. My general rule is that I want years and years and years from now, I don't want there to be a gap in my collection of players. And that also includes me lightly picking up basketball and football here and there. Like, I don't want to look back, even in a sport I don't collect. I don't want to look back in a few years from now or a couple decades from now and be like, nah, I wish I had a couple Tom Brady cards, or I wish I had a couple Kobe cards. As long as I keep up here and there, I'll always have some of that. But being that I love baseball, I was a little bit more into baseball. But at the same time, when I was shopping for unopened wax, when I was shopping for singles, autographs, relic cards, hockey at the time was my prime focus. And so because of that, a lot of my baseball collection was neglected, specifically my favorite all-time player, Ryne Sandberg, who had stuff available then. Of course, he was long retired. He had been elected to the Hall of Fame by that time. But in any set that included retired or former players, he was usually one of the guys from the Cubs that was included. Of course, you'd get him, Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, Andre Dawson every now and then, Greg Maddux sometimes, although Greg Maddux was most included as a Brave, Fergie Jenkins every now and then. But Sandberg was usually the guy. But at the same time, while I picked up singles and a couple relics here and there, I really didn't get as much of his autographs as I should, which for me, being an autograph collector, is still kind of shows to me as a neglected, I would say, part of my collection. Nothing forgotten, nothing I ever got rid of, but at the same time, nothing I really fed. But still, it's something that now that I'm back into things a little bit stronger, I do want to kind of make up for lost time and try and get more of what I can. Now, of course, being that he sadly passed away a year ago, every autograph that he will ever sign has already been signed. But that doesn't mean that I can't pick up what's already out there. And there's plenty out there, and some of it looks great. And I've seen a lot of stuff from other content creators, either from people who are collecting the Cubs or people who collect Hall of Famers or retired players. So there's certainly a lot of fuel out there for me to feed this part of my collection. But anyways, I figured I'd just come on here real quick, show off what I do have, get it as a starting point, and also a big part of it is just putting it out there that this is a part of my collection that I really want to nurture. And so that way people know if you come across a good Ryne Sandberg card or item, doesn't even have to be a card, you've got a guy who's interested. Anyways, we'll start things off. The one part of my Ryne Sandberg collection that is not cardboard related is a baseball. Signed baseball, official Rawlings baseball, signed with his 1984 MVP inscription. Great looking card. He certainly has a unique signature in that it is completely illegible. I can't really identify many of the letters on there, but it's very distinctive. Like, it's not a random scribble. It's not just him looping a couple times. He's intentionally making certain patterns, but I can't read a single letter on it. But it is uniquely his. I got this actually from a trade from a friend of mine. Back when I got into my collecting in the early 2010s, what fueled it was a friend of mine from college. I got on Facebook and he posted a card that he had gotten from from a box of Allen and Ginter, and specifically it was a Tim Lincecum oversized card, so a box topper, oversized patch relic. So it had a giant piece of his jersey number on it that he was selling, and he put a link to his blog on there. And from there I went into that. I looked up some of his other stuff. Then I started blogging myself and kind of fell down that rabbit hole and got sucked in. And of course, he long since left the hobby, but here I still am. But he got this out of a mystery box, a mystery ball. It was, I think, Onyx produced it. I don't know if they're even still around, but at the time they were doing mystery boxes, baseballs, and this is the one he pulled. So of course, knowing that I'm a big Cubs collector and a Ryne Sandberg guy, he offered it to me and sent it my way. Not sent it. We traded. We worked out a deal for it, but I have a Ryne Sandberg ball in my collection. Absolutely love it. It goes in that blank right up there, usually on display, but now you can see a closer up view of it. But memorabilia-wise, that's what I got. I do have a couple cards. Now, one I've shown you already. I believe when I went over my signed Hall of Fame baseball cards, I showed this one. And this isn't one that I keep in that collection because it's signed by multiple players. And that would be from Gypsy Queen. I don't remember if this is a 12 or 13 or a different year, but as you can see, we've got Billy Williams, Ernie Banks, and Ryne Sandberg, signature on each of them. Now, these are sticker autographs, but I think logistically you kind of have to head that direction for a multiplayer card like this. But each of them has each of their signatures on there, a bat relic for each. I like how the bat relics, the grain is all facing in the same direction. I do get particular about that. And not that I'd turn the card away if it wasn't. It's not that big of a deal. But I love this because there's nothing I hate more. Well, there are things. But one of the things I hate about relic cards is when you have a pinstriped relic where the pinstripe is either like diagonal or horizontal. Like, put it the way it's supposed to be. So this is a great looking card, numbered out of 10. 6 out of 10, I believe it is. So a very rare card. I actually had to get this. I bought the redemption card of it off of eBay, and then had to send in the redemption and ultimately wait for it. And the next few are relics, and honestly, a lot of my relics are manufactured relics. So here we have a All-Star Game patch from Topps. These were included in the blaster boxes at the time. 85 All-Star Game. Oh, that's kind of cool. No, I live in Minnesota, so the fact that it's from the Minnesota Twins hosted All-Star Game is pretty cool. I like that effect. Then I've got... I should have organized this better. There you go. Same year, actually, from this one features the 1989 All-Star Game, hosted by the California Angels, now the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The time California Angels in Anaheim, California. Very cool looking card in the same way, and they also used a different image for it. So I like that they didn't just use the same design, same image, and then just slap a new patch on it. Here we go. This is a great one. It is a hat logo patch, but it commemorates one of the most lopsided trades in MLB history, when the Cubs got a young, unproven Ryne Sandberg, along with Larry Bowa, for infielder Ivan DeJesus, which would prove to be one of the most lopsided trades in history. Kind of karmically, I think, makes up for the lopsided deal a few decades earlier that sent Lou Brock to the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, this one is a commemorative historical stitches card. I guess this is supposed to mimic his name being stitched on jersey fabric. But there you go, just kind of cursive stitching, embroidery, I guess you could say. It's from another Topps year 2012. Similar thing. And actually some of those, I think some of those were blaster. I know the All-Star Games were blaster ones, but I think the other two might be jumbo boxes. Because I remember back then, the jumbo boxes, you would get an autograph, a relic, and then a manufactured relic. So I think the hat logo and the stitches are, and this one is as well. This one I love. This is retired rings. So retired, I don't know if it's, it signifies players who have had their jerseys retired by their teams. Have to hold a little diagonal to kind of keep the glare from it. Yeah, it's got a ring. I don't know that they're necessarily little given rings. I think it's just a unique way to kind of signify the fact that they've had their jersey number retired. So there you go, a ring relic, our manufactured ring relic, number 23. Great looking card. Super thick, by the way, but it has to be. But really great looking card. Then, apart from that, I do have a few game used. I think these were all game used relic cards. And this one we've got here from Sweet Spot Classic. Part of the gray road jersey. Then we have from Baseball Heroes, gray road jersey. From Goodwin Champions, pinstripe facing the right direction. Triple threads, numbered to 27, bat relic. And Topps Tribute, also a bat relic. The last two I love. They're great looking cards, higher end releases, so of course they should look great. But That's just kind of a good start. Of course, I've got rookie cards. I've got other stuff. I've got some die cuts, some serial numbered, some error cards. But I just kind of wanted to show this off, kind of recognize the neglected part of my collection, kind of put it out there that this is one part of my collection I'm looking to feed and nurture. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.